I'm Kit Frick, the author of I Killed ZOE SPANOS, and I'm here today in this lovely beach setup in my home office to give you 6 reasons to be riveted by my new book, I Killed ZOE SPANOS. Number 1, ZOE is a thrilling summer murder mystery, and I want to talk a little bit about genre. It is both a murder mystery and a thriller, 2 terms that got tossed around kind of interchangeably, but are actually separate things. And one thing that I love about ZOE that I hope you will too is that it is both. The book is a missing girl mystery about what happened to the title character, ZOE SPANOS, who is a local teen who disappears on her way to a New Year's Eve party. And one unusual thing that the book does is, number 1, you find out that ZOE is dead in the very first chapter, so not a spoiler. And number 2, the first chapter opens with a confession. Anna walks into the police station in Heron Mills, the small Hamptons village where ZOE is from, and confesses to playing a role in ZOE's death. And so the mystery becomes, what really happened to ZOE? Is the story that Anna is telling true? And spoiler alert, it's probably not true. You also learn really early on that there are a lot of holes in Anna's story. So the question is she lying because she's innocent? Did she not really kill ZOE? Or is she lying because what she did is a whole lot worse than the story that she tells police? I Killed ZOE SPANOS is also a psychological thriller. It delves deeply into dark family secrets and the slippery slope of memory, a couple of my favorite things to explore in thrillers. Number 2 is the setting of Heron Mills. As I mentioned, it's in the Hamptons, and Heron Mills is a fictional town that I got to create for the book, but it is based on real towns in the Hamptons like East Hampton and Amagansett. And I got to do some amazing setting research, including a on-location trip to the Hamptons while I was writing the book. And I hope a lot of those details really come through to create a creepy, atmospheric setting. And one of my favorite elements of the setting is Windermere, which is the estate next to the house where Anna has come to the Hamptons for a summer to work as a nanny. And it is this creepy old Gothic estate that has seen much better days. And I based it a little bit on Grey Gardens, which is located in the Hamptons, and a little bit on the estate in Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, Manderley. Which brings me to the 3rd reason to be riveted by I Killed ZOE SPANOS. The book is not a strict retelling by any stretch of the imagination, but it is inspired by Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, which is, this is my old tattered copy that I've had since childhood. The pages are so yellowed that when I went back to reread it, it was almost impossible to reread, and so I listened on audio. And I love Rebecca. I've read it many, many times, and it provided really amazing source material for this book. That you need not be familiar with Rebecca at all to enjoy I Killed ZOE SPANOS, but if you are, you will find all sorts of Easter eggs scattered throughout the book. Number 5, am I on 5 or 4? I've lost track. Okay, it's the podcast. There is a podcast transcript that is interwoven throughout the novel. As I mentioned at the beginning, Anna's confession is shady, right? It does not seem to hold water. It has lots of holes. And there is a local teen podcast host, Martina Green, who has been doing a podcast series looking into the disappearance of ZOE. And that podcast began before Anna's confession, and it picks up again after Anna confesses, and then there's more material to dive into. And you will find throughout the book, the podcast narrative is woven in. So if you are a fan of books like Sadie or A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, you're gonna find a lot to love here. And then the next reason, and now I think I'm on number 5, is then and now timelines. So as I mentioned, the podcast begins before the story starts. The story mostly takes place during the summer when Anna is working as a nanny in the Hamptons and is discovering that she thinks she knows Zoe, and then slowly comes to the realization that she had something to do with her death. And it alternates between that timeline and then a timeline a few months in the future after Anna's confession, when she is incarcerated in a juvenile detention center in Brooklyn, where she's from, and she is awaiting trial. So we have the added tension of the timelines going back and forth, and then the podcast transcript woven in to create this really chewy puzzle. And number 6, final reason to be riveted by I Killed ZOE SPANOS. The book is gorgeous. It features some really special things like this amazing cover design. So what I love about this cover is, as a reader at first blush, and maybe you'll figure this out as you read, you don't know if this is Anna at the beach on the cover or is it Zoe dead in the water. It's so chilling. I love the figure that is looming over her that you can see reflected in the sunglasses. I love everything about it. I also love these gorgeous blue sprayed edges. These are a feature for the first edition hardcover printing, and I am so thrilled that they are a part of this book. And inside, there is also this amazing illustrated map of Heron Mills Village, and I loved the creation of this process. I sent this terrible sketch into my publisher, and then we worked with an amazing illustrator that brought it to life, and so that is super, super cool. And if you're listening on audio, it is a full cast recording, and so the podcast parts really come to life because we have this whole cast narrating the podcast, and so that's also a super special feature for I Killed ZOE SPANOS. Okay, those are my 6 reasons to be riveted by I Killed ZOE SPANOS. I hope you'll read and let me know yours.